Hi cottagers, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm Maddie Sanderson. I look atrocious right now because my allergies have been going absolutely crazy, and so my eyes are all like bloodshot and you know, all that jazz. My medicine has not kicked in just yet, so I can't wear makeup and I can't wear my eyeglasses right now because I'm constantly, you know, rubbing my eyes, as I should not. Anyways, today is going to be starting a new vlog that I'm going to be doing for this week, and that is I'm going to be changing my screen time and reading instead. So if you have an iPhone, I don't know if they do this on Android or any other devices, but I know that on iPhones they do a weekly screen time breakdown. So it will track how much you've spent on your phone, and then it will also track how often you were on specific things. So which apps were taking up the most of your time. Mine always tends to be YouTube, and especially lately because I've been trying to make sure that I'm really supporting the leaders who are helping me with my readathon. So anytime they have a sprint, I'm involved in that. And then of course any of the other YouTubers that I am big fans of, I try and always be constant of watching their stuff and making sure that I'm, you know, helping them however I can. So that does definitely play into this. And I was shocked whenever I looked at last week's of how much time I've spent on my phone. And again, a huge chunk of it was YouTube. So, you know, that makes me feel, I mean, it's not great, but it's not the worst, you know. It could just be doom scrolling, and I don't tend to do that a lot. I'm not really on Facebook. I think all of last week I was on Facebook for maybe 51 minutes, and accumulatively. And then Instagram, I'm just not on there that often either. I don't know, just not really into that sort of stuff. But I was on my phone for 5 hours and 3 minutes average per day. So as you're gonna see in this chart that I'm about to show you, there were Monday exceeded that, and then there are other days that were actually below that. But we're just going to do the average because that's just a lot easier to keep up with. It's 5 hours that I need to read every single day. So as you can see here, yeah, I don't have any words for that. So I am not going to try and do this all in one chunk. If I'm able to do that all in one chunk, that would be great, but that just is not reality for me. With being a stay-at-home mom, I'm going to have to break this up. And I do not plan on just reading one book because I do need to I need to do our dishes, I need to put our laundry away, I need to get cooking done, and I need to be baking something for a video that I try to put out every Wednesday, which is books and baking. So I need to get that done too. So with that, I'm going to be listening to an audiobook instead, just so that it also pushes me a little further along. And I have an audiobook that I'm really wanting to listen to that I do not have the physical book for, and so it's like, well, this would be the perfect time to do that. So I will start a stopwatch on my phone whenever I am starting to read, and then stop it whenever I am done, and then just let it keep accruing until I have reached the 5 hours every single day. So that's a lot of reading for this week. It makes me excited, but it also makes me nervous. Like, am I going to get this done? I don't know. So we're going to start off today. I have it right here. We're going to be reading Lightlark, and I am reading this for my friend Sam from A Spark of Sam. She does a book club with her friend, and I'm going to be joining that this month, so that way I can read Lightlark because I've been dying to read this one. So let's get started with this one. So this is actually the next day. I ended up not doing a video last night. We had a really rough day, and so I just wasn't in the mood for it. And I ended up I laid down to read at like 7:30 because that's when Cody will take Piper downstairs to put her to bed, and I started reading, and then I found myself asleep. So I have never really gone to sleep that early. I'm just not someone who goes to sleep that early. So I was shocked, and I figured, well, I need the rest, so I'm not going to force myself to try to get up you know, a little bit later or whatever. And then we had a rough night, so we slept in, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, we're here now. I look atrocious, just like I did yesterday, just because it's one of those days. Today is one of those days that I am trying to get a couple things done around the house. I am currently working on making some whipped tallow because this stuff is amazing, amazing lotion. And if you're anything like me, you need the stuff that is as organic as possible because it really starts affecting my skin if it has all the, you know, additives and stuff in there. So this is what I use, and then also it's amazing for your hair. And then when Piper ends up with a lot of tangles, we use that for her hair, and you know, none of that really matters. But that's what I'm working on right now. That's why my little mixer's out here. But I just wanted to pop in to tell you guys that I did not get all of my hours done yesterday. So I went ahead and I'm just adding them on to today, and you know, possibly just spreading it out throughout the week. But for today, I have already done 5 hours and 16 minutes. That was for today and yesterday. And I had started reading some of Lightlark, and I am really enjoying it. I had to take a minute to like slow down and not try to get through it so quickly because there's so much building that's happening right now, and I was getting lost in that, which was making me not like the book as much. So I slowed down on that one. But then because of last night and Piper waking us up at 3, and then the dogs coming in our bedroom at 3, Phoenix got herself stuck between our bed and the bookcase at 3. It was just a night, so I couldn't go back to sleep, so I decided I was just going to listen to a book that I've been working on and see how far I got. And then I got hooked. So I was up for at least an hour and a half listening to that this morning, you know, early morning. And then while I have been doing things around the house, cooking breakfast, doing dishes, making the tallow lotion, I was listening to it, and I just finished it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it is called The Library of Borrowed Hearts. That book was so good. I'm not really one who likes a ton of romance books. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I do love me a good Grumpy Sunshine book, and that just means that one of the characters, usually the guy, is a grump, and then you have this sunshiny character who comes into play and just kind of like pulls him out of that. But this one, I was not expecting to love it as much as I did. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a 4-star read because I can't just keep giving books 5 stars. But guys, it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. I'm gonna have to give it 5 stars for sure because, okay, let me just tell you what it's about. So, oh, it's so good. It follows a girl named Chloe, and she is a librarian. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna love it. And she comes across this book that is like, it's very, very rare, and she could get a lot of money from it. And so at first you're kind of like, why is she talking about this stuff? Like, she's a librarian. We don't talk about making money off of books. But it turns out that what happened was her mom had left her with her 3 younger siblings, and she is trying to make ends meet. So she does the things of, well, if there's a book that happens to be in, you know, like the basement of the library or whatever, like it's not one that's on the shelves or whatnot, she would try and find one that wouldn't be missed, and then she would sell it to try to make some money. So we don't necessarily agree with those ethics, but I also am like, I get it. I would possibly do the same thing. I don't know, I'm not in that position. So she does this, and then she takes the book home and she starts flipping through it, and then she realizes that there's writing in it. So she is bummed because she knows that that's pretty much going to make it to where it's like half of the profit that she was expecting. So she starts reading more of the scribbles that are in it, and she realizes that there's actually 2 sets of scribbles. There's one handwriting and then there's another handwriting. And she notices that these become more of a back and forth conversation. So then she says, let me figure out if there's more to this, because she notices that once the book ends and the conversation ends, that there's a little note that tells her to then go to this next book. And so she starts learning all about who these people are, how they're connected. Like, it becomes this big mystery. You start wondering if murder is involved, which of course piqued my interest. And you start seeing her So she takes this book home. All this stuff starts happening where she ends up having to go to her next door neighbor's house for her brother. Her brother, we think, they never specifically say, but I think he's on the autism scale. And so he can't go next door and talk to this man, but she has to. So she goes over there and he's just this grumpy old man, right? And like, you're just waiting for him to say, get off my lawn, you know, all that stuff. And they're having a conversation. She mentions this book and then his interest is piqued. So you start wondering, like, okay, we know that he loves books because it's just kind of mentioned here and there. And so is he interested because this is a relic almost, or is it because he is involved in the story that was written down? So you do learn that he is a part of this story. This book does a really good job. It goes back and forth through time, which doesn't faze me whatsoever. And if you listen to the audiobook of it, they do a wonderful job. Each chapter that has a different narrator, they actually have a different narrator. So that makes it a really, really easy to follow suit. But it does switch a lot of different points of views throughout the entire book. But I loved that because it really gave you this beautiful story the whole way through. It was just, oh, it was so good. So you have this grumpy sunshine who, you know, you're hoping will be changed by the end of it. And he starts, of course, growing, and everybody in the book is starting to grow and change and develop. And like, their mom comes back and it causes chaos within the home. There's, you know, broken limbs that start happening. You meet this, you know, random stranger in the woods and you're like, will they fall in love? Will they not? You just don't know. Ah, it was so good. It was so good. And the whole time they're talking about books. So of course, I love a good book about books. And that's exactly what this one did. And the amount of quotes, like, I want this one as a physical copy just so that I can go and annotate it, because the amount of quotes, not just from the original books that they were drawing from, like Wuthering Heights, anything that's of course the Brontes or Austen, but the fact that the writer, it just seemed like she understood those of us who have a deep, deep, deep love of books. She understood that, and she understood why we have a deep love of books. It's not just because we want to pass the time frivolously, but it's because we like books that either take us to a new world whenever we just need to escape from whatever's happening right now around us, or we just need to revisit one that it feels like a hug. You know, like Princess Bride is one of my absolute favorite books, favorite movies, and I revisit that so often because I love that it feels comfortable and normal to me. And I feel like this is going to become one of those books. I just loved this book. It had everything in it that you could want. If you're looking for something that's like happy, feel good, but also has a little bit of angst to it. Like, there were some moments where you had no idea how this was going to go, and you just wanted it to hurry up and, you know, tell you what's happening and tell you how it's going to turn out. So I loved this book. I was so happy that I spent as much time as I did on this book. But now I have to move on. So I'm going to continue to do Light Lark. Piper and I, as you can tell, are just kind of hanging out today. She's hanging out more as I get stuff done on the boat. We have some neighbors that are going to be moving in, which sounds weird whenever you live on a boat and it's not something that I'm not sure if I am excited about, or if my little introverted self who's like, I could live in a world with no other people, is like, I was a little sad about it. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, we have that going on today as well. And then, yeah, hopefully I can get 5 more hours in, because technically I'm supposed to have 5 hours today, because I was just finishing up, for the most part, a little bit over what I needed to do yesterday. So, anyways, I will clue you guys in later on and let you guys know how I'm doing. guys ever have those days where you wake up and you think, oh, I have like nothing planned, I can do whatever I want, and then it turns out that you end up having plans and you can't do whatever you want? That was today for me. I thought I would be able to get a lot of reading done because I did finish all of the time that I needed to read yesterday, which was great. I had a sprint last night. It worked really, really great. I had a wonderful time, and I was actually able to mostly finish Light Lark. I did have to stay up a little bit later for about an hour and finish the rest of it, which I really enjoyed. But then this morning I thought, well, I could get up, I could get us some breakfast, and then I could just lounge around and do a little reading, and then, you know, by lunchtime hopefully be done with the day. And that's not at all what happened. I ended up having to help our neighbors move their boat. I had to run to the store and get some stuff, had to go to the post office and mail some things, had to clean the boat because it was just a bit chaotic yesterday. My cousin came in and we haven't seen her in about 4 years, and so wanted to spend some time with her. And I mean, it just felt like the day just got away from me. So I have done no reading, and it is officially 1:30 in the afternoon, and so I'm not sure that I'm gonna get all my 5 hours done today, but I'm gonna try. So I did finish Light Lark, which was wonderful. I really enjoyed this. I'm excited to get into the second one, but I'm really excited to join Sam from a Spark of Sam and her book club with this and be able to discuss it. That's very exciting. And then I also have been having to spend today working on my Patreon, just trying to get it built up and build a good foundation and get everything in line. I already have some people signing up, which is wonderful. So shameless plug, if you guys would like to join my Patreon, go ahead. There will be a link down below. We have, we're gonna have a lot of fun there, and we're gonna have our own book club and all that jazz, so that's exciting. And eventually I will do an entire video on my Patreon, just not yet. But I am going to be reading today, and so I'm trying to figure out what do I now move on to. I was thinking that I might go ahead and pop into The Peculiar Incident at Shady Street, because it's fast read, it's really cute, but I'm also kind of like, well, I really want to get into The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. I just don't know. I don't know. And my brain's so dead right now. I still have to edit my video for today. It's the books and baking. So I still have that to do as well. I got dinner on, so I don't have to worry about that. But I don't know. I don't know. I might just go ahead and try and do this one. If I'm able to sit down and read it, then I know that I will enjoy this, but this is not one that I can listen to and do other things because there's just a lot going on. So if I'm able to sit down and read, I'm going to do this one. If not, I'll probably just listen to The Peculiar Incident at Shady Street. So it is a little past 6, and I have still yet to get any reading done, which is such a shame. I have just been so swamped, and it's almost like everything that I'm working on is taking longer than it should. So that's part of it. And then of course Cody got home, and so we wanted to spend some time with Cody. It's just been, I don't know, it's just been a day. But I have decided I am actually going to start Scarlet instead, because I have been dying to know what happens in the Lunar Chronicles. So I'm like, let's just go ahead and jump into this because I'm more excited about this than most of the other ones. And then my plan actually is I really want to read this one and then read this one, which is a kind of like a continuation of Little Red Riding Hood. And so because Scarlet has to do with Little Red Riding Hood, I figured, well, this one would be cute to jump into as well. And I thought that it was interesting that these both happen to be written by a Meyer. They're not the same one, but they both are, and that's kind of cool. So my plan is read this chunk of a book, have the time of my life, and then jump into this one, which is not as thick, so I should be able to get it done pretty quickly. But that's not the goal. The goal is to just get 5 hours of reading done tonight, and I have 6 hours left in the day, So I can almost guarantee that I will not be getting this finished, but I can stay up later tonight because Cody will be going into work a little later tomorrow. So he can help with Piper in the morning, so I can kind of sleep in a little bit. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. That's the goal. So I ended up staying up rather late, and I got most of my reading done, but I did not get the 5 hours that I needed yesterday to stay on track. So I still have about, I think, 2.5 hours that I have to add on to today. But I have spent this morning doing some reading. I've been listening to an audiobook as I've been doing some other things around the boat. I have been working on Scarlet, which is the second in the Lunar Chronicles, and I just finished this, and it was so stinking good. I love this series so much. I'm so sad that it took me this long to finally get into it, but I love it. I have officially done 4 hours and 21 minutes, and again, this is both tandem reading and then also listening to the audiobook as I'm doing other things. And so now I still have to finish up the 5 hours for today, which is 40 minutes. And then I have to add 2.5 hours to that. So I am going to pick up Echo North, and I'm going to start that one today. And hopefully, we don't have anything planned really for later on today. So hopefully I'll be able to sit down and just enjoy reading that and getting hopefully all of my hours in, because I just need, you know, basically 3.5 hours left. So we'll see. I will check back in with you guys whenever I have some sort of update. But for right now, I don't have anything else planned for the day. We're going to just kind of see where Piper takes us, really, is what this comes down to. Have any of you ever stayed up past your bedtime because you were reading something that was really good? Well, that's what happened to me last night. I was reading Echo North, which has been really, really good. And then Cody came home, and he got home around 6. And he just kept talking and talking and talking about this Frida McFadden book. And I was thinking, well, I've read 2 of her books so far this year, and I liked both of them. One of them I liked more than the other. But if he really likes her, then maybe I should give this one a try. And it was called The Locked Door. And that one was following, wow, I don't even remember her name. But it's following a girl who, her dad was a serial killer, and her dad was known as the handyman because he would chop off the girl's hands. So anyways, he gets arrested in her childhood, and then he goes to prison, and he's in jail. And so then you fast forward, and she is now like a surgeon and works in the ER and all that stuff. And all of a sudden, this girl goes missing, and she learns that she is her patient. And what's interesting is that whenever she's found, she's missing her hands. And so they automatically start assuming that it's her because, you know, she's the daughter of the handyman. So anyways, you're going through all of that and just the, you know, chaos that ensued with that. But I was listening to it as an audiobook, and I ended up staying up until about midnight because I was so close to finishing, and it's like I'm just going to push through. But now that makes me tired. And so Piper and I are having a very lazy morning, but I did get all of my hours in that I needed yesterday, if you can see. I only needed 7.5 hours yesterday. And so because of listening to books, I did a lot of audiobook listening yesterday because I was really busy on the boat getting stuff done. Oh. Today I technically don't even have to do the 5 hours, which is good because it is Friday night, and Friday nights we do game night. My cousins are probably coming over tonight, so we do homemade pizza, and then we hook up our Switch and we play Mario Kart or Super Smash Bros, whatever Piper's in the mood for, really. And so one of my cousins is in, who she lives up in Alaska, and so we haven't seen her in like 4 years. She's never met Piper, which was crazy, but she's in, so we get to hang out with her a little bit, which I'm excited for. And then my baby cousin comes over too. Now I just have to convince myself to get out of bed because I'm so tired. And then of course Piper wakes up early this morning. Never fails. Never fails. Yeah, if I stay up late, you get up early. Teach me to stay up late.
Mom does that all the time.
Oh, I stay up late all the time?
Mm-hmm.
It's because I'm reading. Okay. Pop up and say bye.
Bye!
Hey, okay, so I did get all my reading done. I was really proud of myself for that because it took a lot of work yesterday. So today is now Saturday. I'm finally done with the week. I'm done with this vlog for the I'm all spiffy and jazzed up because Cody's taking me on a surprise this morning for Mother's Day, because tomorrow's Mother's Day. And so I'm excited for that. And I get to meet my friends. They had their little baby a couple weeks ago, and so I finally get to meet him. So I'm really excited about that too. But I did finish my vlog of trying to read. Well, you know, this isn't, you've literally been watching for a couple of minutes. This is like a week-long thing for you, like it is for me. Anyways, I did finish it, but I didn't finish my book, which made me a little sad. I'm very, very close, so I'm hoping that I can carve out some time today after meeting baby Cohen, that maybe, just maybe, I can finally get that book done, because Echo North has been so good. I have loved it, and it's one that I will want to give you guys an update of like what the book is about as soon as I'm done with it. That way, hopefully you guys will go pick it up, because it's one that I think that you need to read like right now, because it's just phenomenal. I have loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. So once I'm finally done with the book, I will hop back on here and I will let you guys know what I think about it, and hopefully it will stay at a 5-star. But you never know, endings can ruin things. So I will be back in a little bit to give you guys an update, and then after that, we'll be signing off the video. So I officially finished my week, and I did all of my reading hours that I needed to do, and I'm kind of shocked that I was able to get that much done, but then also I was shocked that I was able to get 5 books done in the span of 5 days. I never thought I would be that person, but here we are, and it is awesome. So I'm going to just do a little recap of the 5 books. I'm not going to go into great detail because I've already done that, but here's a little recap. So we started the week off with Lightlark, and I absolutely loved it. It was a great time. Highly recommend it. Definitely come and check out A Spark of Sam and her book club so that you can join in on this conversation that we're going to have this month about this. And then after that, or kind of during it, I did a Library of Borrowed Hearts, and I loved this book. It was a 5-star for me. If I could do 6-star, it would be a 6-star for me. I just loved this book, and I have ordered it, so it is now on its way to me, so I can finally have a physical copy. And then I read Scarlet, which is the second in the Lunar Chronicles. Loved this, had the best time reading it. It is a 5-star, and I cannot wait to read the next one, because the next one will be following Rapunzel, and she is my absolute favorite Disney princess. So I'm very excited for that one. Loved this, couldn't recommend it more. And then I started Echo North, but then I took a pause and I listened to The Locked Door by Frida McFadden, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4-star because it was great, but it wasn't my favorite of hers, but I still had a good time, and I think that it's one that you guys would possibly enjoy as well, and it's a very quick read. So pick it up if you really like mystery thriller kind of things, and that's what that would be for me. And then lastly, we did Echo North. I did not necessarily finish this one during the sprints that I was doing during the week, trying to fit in the 5 hours every day. I did end up going over, well, it took me about another hour and a half to finish this book up. It was a great book, but I did give it a 3.5 star, and that was mainly because, as amazing as it was starting off, as we progressed, it just became something that I realized I will probably not remember down the road. So I will recommend this for quite some time, but eventually it will escape my knowledge of a book that I had read. And that doesn't necessarily say anything bad about the book. It was a great book, and I had a wonderful time when I was reading it, and it's one that I'm thankful that I read, but there's just some things about it that just kind of made it less memorable. I still highly recommend it. It was a book that I didn't expect to start off as strong and as hard-hitting as it did, but man, it grasped me from the beginning all the way to the end. But it did just kind of become a, I don't know, just a good time. It was just a good time. It wasn't a great time. It wasn't a phenomenal time. It wasn't one that I want to scream from the rooftops and let everybody know about, but it is one that I think that everybody should pick up and read, if that makes sense. It's kind of confusing, but it was still a good time. It was a good time. So pick it up. So there are all the 5 books that I got done this week, and if you have not done this challenge, I highly recommend it. It was such a fun challenge to do. It definitely pushed me, and it also helped me to see just how much I'm capable of doing in 1 week. I'm shocked. I'm still shocked that I was able to get 5 books done in 1 week, and I got all my hours done. So that's awesome. What a fun week this was. So thank you guys so much for spending time with me. I love every single one of you, and it means the world to me that you have spent any amount of time with me. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe, as it does help my channel. It helps it to grow, and it also helps me to be able to produce more content for you guys, and allows me to do the things that I love, which is to be a stay-at-home mom for Piper and to be able to read all the books that I can read, and then help present books to you that maybe you have never heard of and you don't have on your TBR. So thank you guys for being here, and until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.